In news fit for a banana republic, Bodger Johnson has watered down the Ministerial Code and blocked a bid to give his ethics advisor the power to investigate him.
What?
Just days after Sue Gray's report slammed Number 10's leadership for the culture that led to Partygate, the Prime Minister himself issued a new version of the rules for himself, allowing himself to break the rules without resigning. Isn't that totally Tory?
Yes.
And he dismissed calls from his ethics advisor, Lord Geit, who had asked for the power to launch investigations into behaviour independently in the wake of the Downing Street flat row. God, that was so long ago. So many scandals have passed by since then. You remember the Downing Street flat row?
No.
Yeah, the whole wallpaper thing. Was it the wallpaper thing, or was it the £30,000 worth of free lunch delivered by a butler thing? Or was it him spilling white wine over the white sofa thing? Or was it him having a row with his current wife that was so loud the police were called? I can't remember. You just get lost in the fog of misdemeanours, which I think is the intention. In fact, he said that out loud, didn't he? That famous clip of him from years ago telling us his plan for ruling, which was exactly like a certain orange nightmare in the States.
Oh, shut up!
Just throw an enormous amount of distraction out the window. Just keep saying awful things.
Donald Trump is not a nice person.
And people will be too busy trying to concentrate on one thing, and they'll miss the 20 other appalling things that you've just done, because they're either trying to correct what you just said that's a lie, or trying to deal with some scandal that you just dropped casually, as though it was the thing that you bought your chips wrapped in. I must not get so wound up.
Calm down.
I'm trying. Bodger dismissed calls from his ethics advisor, who had asked for the power to launch investigations into behaviour independently. He's an independent advisor, but he's not allowed to act independently. Yeah, that sounds like Bodge. Yeah, all over. Lord Geit told the Prime Minister his confidence had been shaken by the scandal over who funded the refurb of the Prime Minister's flat, and that the episode demonstrated insufficient regard or respect for the role of the independent advisor. That was then. This is now. The Mirror understands political aides in Number 10 discussed plans to strengthen Lord Geit's role before the what? The Mirror... Well, see, they were drunk at the time when they were discussing this. The Mirror understands political aides in Number 10 put down their glasses long enough to discuss plans to strengthen Lord Geit's role before the publication of the Sue Gray report, and that they then had to put them to the PM to give his permission to strengthen the role of the person who would investigate the Prime Minister. And, no surprise, the Prime Minister decided that it would be best if no one had the power to question him. It's also very much what would Donald Trump do? So the independent advisor on the Ministerial Code will get an office, a staff and a website, like a real worker. But the government announces he will still need the consent of the Prime Minister before launching his own probe. So he's not like a real worker at all. He's more like a rubber stamping machine. Or one of those nodding dogs that used to sit on the back shelf of cars. And the Prime Minister will still have the final say on whether to hand out any punishment for wrongdoing by a minister, including himself. The most amoral, feckless layabout that's ever led this country is to be judge and jury of his own behaviour. What could possibly go wrong? Meanwhile, a new version of the Ministerial Code, that is the Code of Conduct for Ministers, including the Prime Minister, was published. It now states that what happens in Downing Street stays in Downing Street. Pretty much that's it. Whoever is the junior member present must fetch the refreshments in a suitcase.
Booze.
It says that too. All women are to be top Tory totty and bonus points for having a stripper pole in their front room.
Disgusting.
And whatever you do, don't tell the current wife. Those are the new rules. They came with a raft of watered-down punishments available. Previously, it was expected that any minister who broke the code should offer their resignation. But from today, the options open to the PM where he retains confidence in the minister, including himself, will include some form of public apology, remedial action, or removal of ministerial salary for a period. You believe that? The policy statement announcing the changes read, "It is disproportionate to expect that any breach, however minor, should lead automatically to resignation or dismissal." Are you kidding? It went on to say that the advisor's new office must be mindful of the need to avoid incentives for trivial or vexatious complaints, which means complaining about anything the dear leader has said or done, which would vex him. In a letter to William Ragg, chair of the Public Administration and Constitutional Affairs Committee in January, Lord Geit indicated that he believed his office should hold the power to launch the independent investigations himself without permission from the PM. Well, of course they blooming well should. What's the point of him if he's got to wait for the Prime Minister to launch an investigation into the Prime Minister? And he wrote, "I would expect by the time of my next annual report in April to be able to describe the role of independent advisor in terms of considerably greater authority, independence and effect consistent with the ambitions for the office that the Prime Minister has set out." Well, we know how to treat what the Prime Minister says about anything. Liar! Just ignore it. You don't know Bodger very well, do he? The only independent investigator is a fired investigator. Ain't that right, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
This man has taken this country and turned it into an international laughingstock in 3 short years. I mean, just imagine what he can achieve by clinging desperately on for another 2. I mean, we'll be lucky not to wake up and find the entire nation up on bricks and Bodger's nicked the wheels. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
It is amazing what is happening in this country. Would anybody like to lay me a bet that the next general election doesn't happen? Not a lot of money, just a little bit, just to make it interesting. Bet now. I bet the next general election doesn't happen. And it will go something like this. Well, because of unprecedented world events, the Prime Minister has decided on our behalf that it would be best to postpone the next general election. It's what the people want. He is getting on with giving the people what they want. And don't forget that the Prime Minister has got all the big calls right. And there was the vaccine rollout. And he got Brexit done. And all that nodding dog stuff that all of his sycophants spew out as though they've been learning it by rote like robots.
Correct.
They all say the same blooming thing over and over and over again. I don't think that we'll have another election in this country. Not a free and fair one, anyway. I mean, they will rig it so much in their favour. I mean, it already is in their favour, but not the guarantee a win 100% of the time. They're working on it. I mean, every day you wake up and you think, oh, God, what now? It used to be that when Donald Trump was around, but I think the current incumbent of number 10 has filled his enormous void.
Oh, shut up!
Huge.